All right, so this is the second recording of sociobiology, and what we're going to talk about is the evolutionary analysis of mate choice. So we'll do some things also in obviously our class time, but let's talk about what both males and females prefer here in general, and then we'll talk on this one females, and then we'll flip over in the next recording talking to males. And one of the things that they found is, especially in humans and other species, physical attraction is actually tied to symmetry. And it's not just our culture. For some reason, we find people who are more symmetrical, right and left faced, are more attractive. And they've done studies of this, and these are genetically, or not genetically, these are, that would be strange. These are computer simulations where they take a face picture and kind of change them and meld them. You can see this one on the right has been pushed kind of to the right. So what we find is most people prefer this symmetry. And everybody looks a little bit different right and left. They've done studies where you take a mirror and you kind of do half a face, and what you'll find is you'll get two different looking people. I mean, they look similar, obviously, but if you reflect the right side or the left side of the face. All right, let's see what women choose. And so what happens, physical attraction to masculine features that women like tend to be caused by testosterone. It's the prominent chin, strong cheekbones, muscular upper body, height, deeper voice, and a strong hand grip, which might explain why the the shaking of hands, especially in males, is kind of like that. We're gonna have a little war right here. One of the things that high levels of testosterone does, though, is it breaks down our immune system. So the idea here is women are choosing this knowing that the immune system might be an issue, but again, if you can still survive, you have good genes, that kind of good genes theory. All right, and so the question then might be, is this going to be different pre or post reproductive? And we're going to look at some of that stuff. So they've done studies where they've looked at women and how they choose a partner where they are in their menstrual cycle. And actually, it turns out that does change. All right, but it turns out what women want are providers. And again, this sounds very. I'm always afraid when you do this lecture, it sounds very sexist. But studies have shown that not just our culture, but they prefer providers. Now, our culture, it tends to be money, wealth. And maybe that's why guys have you try to have the nice car and you dress nice and all the trappings of wealth is to find a mate, actually wealth in the Western cultures like ours is actually associated with health, because we have better health care, especially if you have money. Both looks and measures are important, but what we're finding out, it might be the second one that is actually more important to females. And so what you're seeing here in the graph, market value. so you can rank a guy here, market value where they find. And so usually an 18-year-old or 20-year-old here doesn't have a lot of money. They may be in their peak sexual, if you take a sex class, stamina wise and all those things. But reality is, they don't have any money. And so what happens is their market value increases as they increase and get wealth until about 35. And then you see a fall off. And that fall off is although these people probably have more money, as you get older, their reproductive abilities will fall off. And so this is market value. So some of you guys right now are trying to figure out where you are, and I don't know your age, or your wealth, to be honest with you. So you need to work on that. All right. Again, we have found that women tend to rate themselves as women who rate themselves as highly attractive show a stronger preference for both masculine and symmetrical faces. So What this is associating with is kind of what you feel your self-worth is. Well, you know, where you rank yourself versus I guess what you think you deserve. You know, kind of a more psychology kind of question. And so what happens is women who rate themselves high actually then uh, are showing a stronger preference for both the masculine and the symmetrical look. And the ones that don't rank as high are, I guess, looking for a better phrase would be, are a little less choosy. And so you can see the standards, and you know, this is where female overall perception, female overall male preference, and what you're seeing is, if you compare the male and the female, is that the females have a higher standard, which they should. I mean, I don't know how to argue that other than they actually should. So. All right, and then higher income increases male copulatory success. How many times they get to have sex? It turns out all ages are here, but as you get old, you get a number of potential conceptions. So basically, how often are you copulating? And again, mates, people with more income are having more sex. So some of you are working away so hard to make all the money, you don't have time for that. But there is this link to wealth, you know, and I'm talking money here, but in other countries, it might be cattle, it might be land. You know, those are the things that are ranked for success. The funny thing, though, is as family income increases, especially in the United States, which you tend to see, is you tend to see fewer numbers of individuals having fewer kids. And so that doesn't really kind of match what you would think from all the data we just showed you. And so there's obviously other factors involved. One is choice and lifestyle choice. Another one could be the effort it takes to take care of the young. So all of these things would come into play as you see those numbers decrease. And so with that, we will stop the share and stop the recording.